Gen Z has had enough of Donald Trump.
Knowing what you know about these candidates heading into that debate, what comes to mind when you think of Donald Trump?
I would say unqualified.
Unprepared.
I'd say ignorant. Highly influential, but disingenuous.
Selfish and arrogant.
Yikes. And the worst part? Trump actually thinks people like him.
Poll just came out. We're leading with women, with suburban women, with men, with black, with white, with Asian, with Hispanic, with people that went to MIT, like my uncle who has 3 degrees. We like leading with people like that. He passed away a long time ago, but he was a smart one. And we're leading with young kids that don't even have a high school education. We're leading with everybody.
I don't think Republicans are aware of how unpopular they are with Gen Z. And comments like this aren't helping.
It seems like this is the workforce you'd expect after years of liberal leaders brainwashing people into thinking they deserve everything without lifting a finger. The poor work ethic showing up in Gen Z.
You should see the obesity epidemic among kids. Every video of kids fighting, they're fat. I mean, they're huge. It's scary how big they are. Kids are just plain huge. You have spikes in crime, suicide, spectacle shootings, tribalism, social media-inspired contagions that turn a confused young girl into a he-male killer.
These people feel entitled to Gen Z's vote, and they're not doing anything to win them over, and then they end up losing with Gen Z, and then they wonder why.
How do you plan to engage with Gen Z voters?
Well, I think we're doing that. And I'll tell you what, you would be shocked, like Charlie Kirk and others, the job that they do with their youth. It's a youth movement. It really is. That's another movement. You would be shocked to see how popular we are on college campuses. Much different than what you read, much different than what you hear.
There's so much to unpack there. Trump, first of all, seems to believe that he's doing well with Gen Z, or at least he says it. And maybe by saying it, he feels that it's kind of going to manifest itself into doing well, and then his followers will believe that they're doing well. You even saw that earlier clip where he said, we're leading in the polls with everybody, with blacks and Latinos and whites and women and this and that, and even high school kids that didn't go to high school or something like that. But first of all, if they haven't finished high school, are they old enough to vote? I don't know. Secondly, you're not leading with blacks and Latinos and all these people. You might be doing better than you had in the past with those demographics, but you're not leading in those groups. Those groups are notoriously Democrat voters. And the same thing goes for Gen Z. Why aren't they winning over Gen Z? You saw that first clip with all those young women using all of those great adjectives to describe Donald Trump because they see his BS. They know what the facts are. We saw in the debate, Donald Trump went and said that when he was questioned about Roe versus Wade, he said, well, everybody wanted Roe versus Wade. Even Democrats wanted Roe versus Wade, which is a bunch of crap. And then he went on to lie, and he said that there are Democrats who want to kill the baby after the baby has been born. That's called murder. That's not called abortion. That's called murder, and it doesn't happen. It's illegal. It couldn't happen. Just tell every one of your dumb MAGA friends, if they actually believe that people are pulling out babies in the 9th month or they're killing babies after they're born, it can't happen. It doesn't happen. That's murder, all right? But what's happened is that they've gone ahead, the Republicans have gone ahead and taken away a woman's right to choose to have an abortion if she so chooses to. And with that, they lose young voters like we saw those young voters there in the first clip, the Gen Z voters, because Gen Z voters want to have more rights than their grandmother had. They want to be progressing in life. They want to have more opportunities than their grandparents had. And yet, a lot of the financial opportunities that Donald Trump has given has been for the wealthy. The tax breaks have always been for the wealthy. We want to increase the minimum wage in this country, but Republicans don't want to do that. We wanted to forgive student debt, and the Republicans sued to stop the forgiveness of student debt. You're not going to win over any Gen Z voters when you're making it more expensive for them to go to college. You're not going to win over any Gen Z voters when you make it more expensive and harder for them to actually have a living wage, to actually do well in this economy. So the Republicans have been against a lot of the stuff that Gen Z is for. For you to be anti-LGBTQ rights, that doesn't help with this Gen Z generation. Now, Donald Trump mentioned Charlie Kirk of Turning Point. Charlie Kirk is a dope. All right? The guy is really a stupid human being who speaks fast and thinks by speaking fast, him and Ben Shapiro, they're both fast talkers. They think that they are smart just by speaking fast. But the truth is, they're just really, I would say, troubled human beings. Troubled human beings who, the truth is, when you're young, you should be rebelling against the establishment. You should be pushing against the establishment, and yet they want to go more and more conservative. If, for example, any of Donald Trump's kids were rebellious and they rebelled against him, I think that kid would be embraced by Gen Z, because Gen Z sees the BS. Gen Z wants someone who is willing to stand up for them and give them a better future, a more open future, a more progressive future. And yet MAGA keeps going after these battles online that are silly and stupid. They're talking about immigrants eating pets. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Immigrants aren't eating pets. The Haitian immigrants in Springfield are not eating pets. And when Gen Z sees Donald Trump at a presidential debate say that, they go, this guy is full of it. And he is full of it. And then furthermore, when the moderator asked Donald Trump if he had any regrets about January 6th, all he had to say was, maybe I should have made my announcement earlier for people to leave. And yet Donald Trump stuck by his story, and he said, no, I was just there to give a speech. I had nothing to do with it. So Gen Z sees the BS, you see? When Donald Trump says that, no, I won the 2020 election, Gen Z sees the BS. Young people are smart. And unfortunately, MAGA and the Republicans don't give them credit for it. So if you respect Gen Z, if you give them credit for their intelligence, if you listen to them and what they want for the future, then maybe you can win them over. But unfortunately, MAGA has no idea how to do that. MAGA is not a wide tent. They really are a very small, passionate tent, but they're a small tent. And what needs to happen is, if you want your freedoms, if you want your ability to be able to choose as a woman, if you want your daughter to be able to choose, if, God forbid, she were a victim of some sort of sexual violence, they should have the ability to do that. And yet many MAGA people don't want to be able to have an abortion for any reason whatsoever, even if it's the health of the mother, even if it's a victim of rape. And so if you're someone who believes that your daughter deserves to be able to choose that right, if you're someone who believes that your neighbor who happens to be a member of the LGBTQ community can get married with whoever they want, then you should really be voting for Kamala in this election, because we see MAGA is just not doing it. Not doing it. So it's unfortunate to see that they speak a big game. Donald Trump says that he's winning all these other demographics, but the truth is that they're doing nothing to win those demographics over, and the truth is that they're just fear-mongering and pushing hate, which Gen Z does not like. So what do? You register, you vote, and hopefully get rid of these bozos who are in Congress and in the Senate, like J.D. Vance, like Ted Cruz, and all these other people who are not really people who connect with you, Gen Z. I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I have a special on YouTube. It's called The Birds and the Bees. Check it out. It's free. If you like it, tell your friends. If you don't like it, keep it to yourselves. Bye.